dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amaano Boarding and Day School.
Grade 8, welcome to our social studies lesson. My name is Teacher Eric. We are looking at the last unit, Unit 5, and under it, you remember, we are looking at this subunit of the Organization of African Unity. Now, initially we had looked at the United Nations Organization and its aims, objectives, and what it does. We also looked at the Arab League, but today we are looking at the Organization of African Unity. Now, by the end of our lesson today, as a student and a candidate, you should be in a position to state the year in which Organization of African Unity was formed. You should be able to state the objectives or the aims of the formation of Organization of African Unity. Now, one thing you have to understand is that Organization of African Unity was formed at a period when most African countries had gotten independence. But there were some countries that had not gotten independence. So this organization was supposed to help these countries to get independence. The remaining countries, remember, like even South Africa got its freedom in 1990. Other countries like Mozambique got independence in 1978. So this organization was supposed to help them to get freedom completely. Now, the Organization of African Unity was formed in 1963. We shall be looking at the exact month here. So the Organization of African Unity was formed in May 1963. In Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is the capital city of Ethiopia. That is where the headquarters of Organization of African Unity, right now it's known as the African Union, that's where the headquarters are. Now, it was actually formed or created by Pan-Africanists. And when we talk about Pan-Africanists, class, you remember very well in our previous video lessons, that it was created by Pan-Africanists whose aim was to create unity among all Africans. Now, Pan-Africanism was a movement. It was like an organization that was calling for unity and for freedom among African nations at a time when there was colonization in Africa. So, you remember very well that we said it was even begun by a Senegalese called Blaise Du Bois, and therefore this movement was calling for political unity among Africans, Pan-Africanism. So those leaders that were heads of Pan-Africanism are the ones that called for the creation of Organization of African Unity. So it is a big organization that is ensuring that, or ensured that, Africa gets full freedom. Now, going ahead, here are images showing the headquarters of Organization of African Unity, presently known as AU or African Union. So all these flags, there are very many up the other extent, they represent all the African nations, all the African countries. The headquarters are in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. That's one thing that you have to get. Moving ahead again, there is another, still the same image, showing the headquarters. The image is very clear. You can see the headquarters of AU or Organization of African Union. Sometimes we shall be using the word AU or OAU, the same. So initially it was called OAU, Organization of African Union, or Unity rather, but right now it is referred to as African Union. Now, here, objectives. Objective is the reason why it was formed, the reason for the formation, the aims. Why do you think the OAU or Organization of African Unity, why do you think it was formed? Reason number one, it was to promote unity of African states, that unity among African countries. If there's unity, it means that they will work together to fight the colonialists. But if there's no unity among Africans, then they'll continue being colonized. So this organization OAU was to promote unity. When you have unity with your friends, you can fight any enemy who is coming to you. It was also supposed to eradicate colonialism. To eradicate is like to eliminate or to keep away, to drive away colonialism. So it was supposed to fight colonialism and promote freedom. It was also supposed to promote cooperation. Cooperation means working together. It was supposed to promote cooperation and coordination among Africans. Remember, when you work together, work becomes very easy. Countries that work together, for example, if Somaliland works together with Ethiopia, it means the economy will become good. They'll build their economy. A lot of goods will come in. Trade will be promoted. So when there is cooperation, and keyword here we've said is cooperation, right? So they promote cooperation among African countries. That was the aim. Once again, we said that OAU was formed in order to eradicate or to eliminate colonialism. It was formed also in order to promote cooperation and coordination among Africans. It was also formed in order to promote unity. And keyword here is unity. Why do we say unity? Look at even the name itself, Organization of African Unity. So the key word here, the key purpose for the formation was in order to promote unity. So when we move ahead, we shall be looking at the organs of the OAU. Organs. When we talk about organs, what comes to your mind? It is not like the body organs. Yes, we can relate to that. Like a body has very many organs. We have the kidney, we have the heart, we have, all those, the hands. All those organs, all those organs are helping the body to do its work. The skin, all those organs are helping the body to do its work. So the same way, Organization of African Union, or Unity rather, has got its organs. Initially, it had its organs that were very few. They used to help it to do its work. And one was Assembly of the Heads of State. That means all the presidents. All the presidents. So when we talk about all the heads of state, whenever they meet, assembly, when we go to assembly, even at school, you are meeting together. Then you have the Council of Ministers, General Secretariat. You remember even the United Nations Organization had the Secretariat, but this one now is General Secretariat. Then we have the Commission on Mediation and Reconciliation. Whenever there is conflict, whenever there are misunderstandings between African countries, this commission, group of people, will always go to that country to try and bring peace. So it is also an organ of the Organization of African Unity. Then here we want to look at the achievements of OAU, Organization of African Unity. An achievement is something that they have managed to do. Like, for example, do you think since it was formed in 1963 May, has it helped any country to get independence? Yes, they really helped countries like South Africa and even Mozambique and even Angola to get their independence. So it is very important to note that OAU has done a very wonderful job to try and ensure that Africa has unity, Africa gets independence. So stating here, the way it has been stated, is that they supported liberation movements. Liberation movements, in other words, we mean freedom. Freedom. So we're talking about freedom movement in South Africa, Angola, and Mozambique. They supported, they really agitated, they really helped to fight for freedom in these countries. Remember, these countries got independence later after Somalia and Somaliland had gotten their independence, and most countries in the Horn of Africa. So this Organization of African Unity helped these countries to be liberated, to be freed from colonialism. The next one is the OAU helped to settle disputes. Disputes are conflicts or disagreements. So they helped to settle disputes or conflicts among member states. For example, whenever there was war, especially let's say between Eritrea and Ethiopia, then the OAU came in to try and negotiate, to try and solve the conflict between these two countries. Whenever there was conflict between Sudan and South Sudan, the OAU came in to try and help to settle their disagreement. So it has done a very wonderful work. It has achieved a lot. The other thing is that here, the heads of state of Africa decided that, okay, that's now later on from OAU. We want to see that after some time, OAU, or Organization of African Unity, its name changed. We want to see when it changed and why it changed and which name did it change to. Well, of States of Africa decided that OAU had achieved its objectives, and so most countries were peaceful and they had achieved independence. Now, what happened? They decided that, sorry, there was a mistake here. They decided that in the year 2002, so here was supposed to be 2002, they changed the OAU to AU. The name changed completely from OAU to AU. There was a slight mistake here, typing error. It's supposed to be 2002. So the name changed to African Union, from Organization of African Unity to African Union. So those are the changes. Now, once again, in which year was Organization of African Unity formed? It was formed in May 1963. In which year was it changed? It was changed in July 2002. Its headquarters are in Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia. Thank you for watching. That is the end of our lesson. See you.